What is up, everybody? This is Adam. Welcome back to Fouled Out. This is a special emergency episode or drop in podcast or whatever you want to call it for Matt and I to talk about what the hell just happened with Luka Doncic being traded to the LA Lakers. Multiple Sacramento beat reporters also reporting that the De'Aaron Fox trade to the Spurs is imminent. So you might get a live reaction to that on the pod if it's really happening as soon as they say it is. So that might be fun for you guys. After 20 plus years of being a Kings fan, I kind of know to expect that this is not going to be fun for me and that I'm not going to be happy with the return. But we will see what happens. Just a reminder before we get started, you can reach out to us, fouledoutsports@gmail.com. Let us know your feelings on the Luka Doncic trade. I would be super interested to hear if there's anybody out there who thinks this is a good trade for the Mavericks. If that is you, email us, fouledoutsports@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you about that. But for now, let's grab Matt and let's talk about this trade because there is a lot to talk about. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very special What the Fuck edition of the Fouled Out Sports Podcast. Joining me now is my co-host, Matt. Matt, what the fuck?
I genuinely don't have any answers for you.
I think this is truly the most shocking sports moment in our lives.
Mhm.
Like at least for off the court stuff. I mean, I think there's some like on the court or on the field things that have been genuinely shocking, but I was trying to remember a transaction or a move or any like off court anything that was as stunning as Luka Doncic being traded to the Lakers.
Yeah, I think the only trade I remember that I was this stunned about was Minnesota trading for Rudy Gobert.
That's a good one. I went all the way back to the decision for LeBron James as the last
Mhm.
time I was like just genuinely floored by something. And it wasn't the fact that he left Cleveland. It was more the fact that like he was teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. And that was really the first time we had seen something like that.
Yeah.
But the Luka trade is stunning on multiple fronts. Not only that it happened, because like let's be very clear, you're trading at the very worst a top 3 NBA player who's
Yeah.
25 years old and just took you to the NBA finals last season for I mean the best version of Anthony Davis. He's a 31-year-old big who hasn't played, I mean he played 76 games last season but hasn't played what more than 64 in the previous like 5 or 6 seasons.
Hmm. Yep.
So the full trade is Luka, Maxi Kleba, and someone else who's escaping me right now.
Markieff
Yes,
Morris.
Markieff Morris for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' future first round pick. So, one, stunning that you would ever trade Luka Doncic. Two, stunning that that is the return for Luka Doncic because before this trade, if you had asked anybody what would a return for Luka Doncic look like in a trade, we would be talking like the most first round picks ever traded with no
Hmm.
protections, multiple young guys. Like, just think about it this way: Miles Bridges just got 5 firsts for the Nets. Rudy
Hmm.
Gobert just got 5 firsts plus Walker Kessler, who they had just drafted in the first, plus more young players. So you're talking like a generational haul, like just an all time, the biggest haul ever is what you would expect for a Luka Doncic trade. So like trading Luka is stunning. The return they got for him is stunning. And maybe the most stunning part of it all is that there was not even a single whisper about this potentially even being thought of
Yeah.
until it happened. Like I woke up at 1 a.m. last night because my kids were awake. My 7-month-old daughter was crying and woke me up. I looked at my phone and had a text from my nephew Marshall that said Luka is a Laker. And like Marshall kind of fucks with me sometimes. And I was like, I texted back. I was like, yeah, right. And he goes, no, dude. He's like, I'm not lying. And I went on Reddit, and the top like 35 posts on my Reddit feed are all like, "What is going on? Luka's a Laker." Like the
Yeah.
King sub is freaking out. The NBA sub's freaking out. NBA circle jerk, like the whole thing. So we don't see deals like this anymore, where a superstar player is traded without having first demanded a trade.
Hmm.
I just feel like there have been big deals the last however many years, but we always have an inkling that something is coming. And
Yep.
we have time to digest it and sit on this podcast and make up trades and scenarios and be like, oh, well, De'Aaron Fox is going to get traded to the Spurs. Like we know De'Aaron Fox is going to get traded to the Spurs. And so we have time to mentally prepare for it and be like, well, what could they get back, and make up all these scenarios and be like, well, they better get Sohan or Castle and multiple first, and like we can kind of just mentally prepare ourselves for what's about to happen. That I don't even know what to say about this. It was
And
so stunning that something like this could happen.
it really seems like Nico, even though he said they talked about it over 3 to 4 weeks, didn't have time to figure out what the return would be because this is abhorrent. Like,
Maybe the most stunning portion of it all is that it was never put out to other NBA teams that Luka Doncic may be
yep.
available. And so I think about it from like a business perspective. Like if you decide to sell your business, you have a fiduciary duty to your investors and stockholders to
Yeah.
shop for the best deal possible. And you have to like go to your board and prove that you got the best deal. Even if it's like your startup that you started, you have other people you report to, and you have to prove that you got the best possible deal for your business. And there was numerous reports today saying that the Mavericks did not even try to shop Luka.
Yeah.
They decided they were going to trade him, and they called the Lakers and said, "We want to give you Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis." Can you imagine getting that call if you're Rob Pelinka?
No, I can't. Nico like opened his statement by like giving credit to Rob Pelinka for like helping keep this whole thing quiet. I'm like, in what world would he not? You are offering him a top three player, and if he is part of the reason why it gets leaked, he's jeopardizing his own incentive to get that player.
You know what it reminds me of? And this might be like the wildest comparison in the history of this podcast. Do you remember the movie Team America, where
Yep.
the like main character wants to have sex with the love interest, and she's like, promise me you'll never die and I'll have sex with you? And he's like, I promise I will never die. I just feel like Nico Harrison talking to Rob Pelinka is he's like, Rob, promise me you won't let this get out. Rob Pelinka's like, I promise it will not get out. Like this is the kind of shit you take to your grave, because you're absolutely right. If this gets out that they're even thinking about shopping Luka, you have an
Yeah.
all-time bidding war on your hands. And like
Yeah.
honestly, I could even see scenarios where like OKC's like, we'll give you Shea and picks if they value Luka like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, like other teams would have come over the top with their wildest fucking offers. And
Yeah.
instead, the Lakers get a 25-year-old perennial MVP candidate who just took his team to the NBA Finals less than 12 months ago
Yeah.
for 31-year-old Anthony Davis a young player in Max Christie, like who's fine. But honestly,
Yeah.
if you told me the trade was like Max Christie for Maxi Kleba, I'd be like, oh, okay, like I get that.
Yeah.
And then a future first for the team that's going to have Luka fucking Doncic.
Yep.
And now there's so many angles on this where now it's like, what do the Lakers do? You know, the one of the
Yeah.
craziest parts of this is that they didn't consult LeBron James or Anthony Davis before they made this trade.
They didn't consult anybody.
And that
So LeBron didn't know, AD didn't know, Luka didn't know, and
Rich
we
Paul
we
didn't know.
yeah, Rich Paul didn't know. We now know Jason Kidd was never consulted, which like the audacity to be having these discussions for 3 to 4 weeks and never once mention to your head coach that you're going to trade a top three player that he is relying on and to turn to the media and just be like, oh yeah, I had confidence because I know what kind of players he likes.
Yeah. You know what kind of
He,
players I
he
like, Matt?
Luka fucking Doncic.
Yes. The stuff they said about him. So like, I guess two things. One, the stuff they said about Luka on the way out is like insane to me. There's a bunch of reports that they're not happy with his conditioning. And Ryan Russillo was on a podcast last night right after this happened. And he had the line of all lines where he's like, I don't give a fuck if he's smoking a cigarette walking up the court. I would be looking at my other GMs and be like, when can we give this guy the supermax? I want to give it to
Yeah.
him right now. Um, and that brings up the whole other topic I want to talk to you about on the supermax. But before that, like, so they're not happy with his conditioning. They don't want to commit a supermax to a 25-year-old MVP candidate who took you to the finals 8 months ago or whatever it was. I think the irony of all ironies is going to be like, we've talked about this multiple times on the pod that if Luka ever gets it together body wise,
Hmm.
that he is going to be an unstoppable force of nature, the likes of which the NBA has never seen, because he is a top three player at his current weight and conditioning. If this is the move that finally pisses him off enough, because like, one, you're going to put a massive fucking chip on his shoulder because not
Yeah.
only are you trading him away from a franchise that he was super loyal to,
Yeah.
but you're also costing him upwards of $60 million because he's now not eligible for a supermax from the Lakers. So
Hmm.
he's going to be fucking pissed. And at least for the next half of the season and playoffs, he's going to go learn how to take care of his body from LeBron fucking James.
Yeah.
If this is the thing that turns Luka into Super Saiyan Luka, the deal is somehow going to get worse with time. Like if the reason they traded him away is because he's fat and he becomes like perfect body Luka because of this and learns how to take care of himself from LeBron, somehow this trade could get worse than it is now.
My man is gonna come into next season with fucking cheekbones.
Yeah. Cheekbones and like
Like,
cheekbones and cum gutters. I
yeah.
guarantee it. I promise you, there's gonna be a story over the next half of this season that Luke has gone vegan and stopped drinking sweet tea, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, when he's on the Lakers." The the other part of it before we get to the Supermax side is like the reason that the Lakers don't consult anybody is because if Rich Paul or LeBron James or Anthony Davis like throws a fit because they're all in that little like clutch group,
Hmm.
this is the all-time get out of jail free card for the Lakers.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years, they've been completely subservient to LeBron James and clutch sports.
Yep.
And we've been coming up on the time where, last year and this year, it's like, oh, do they trade Davis? What could they get back for him? Do they trade LeBron? Like, what is the pivot for the Lakers' future? And they've had to have been thinking about it because as great as LeBron still is at his advanced age, he doesn't have forever.
Hmm.
and someone fucking just calls you and is like, hey, how's this for a pivot? 25-year-old perennial MVP candidate who just fucking backpacked his team to the NBA finals and cooked the Wolves by himself.
Yeah.
Like, how do the Lakers always do this? They've somehow transitioned from Magic and Kareem to Shaq and Kobe to LeBron and now Luka fucking Doncic. And I'm sure
It's
someone else, there's going to be someone that comes with him too. I guarantee it.
it's because shit like this happens. Like I don't know why all the stupid GMs seem to gravitate towards LA, but like it's always LA that's benefiting from this stupid shit. Because LA couldn't have outbid half the league.
Uh, I'm going to need a minute, Matt.
Oh God.
The Sacramento Kings just traded De'Aaron Fox and got Zach LaVine back in return.
Jesus ever loving Christ.
Oh my God. I haven't seen the full details yet, but that's the headline. Oh God. I think I'm going to be sick on the podcast. Oh, Jesus Christ. Zach LaVine, who literally the Bulls
Could
couldn't
not could
fucking,
not give him away.
oh, breaking from Sham. Sacramento is finalizing a trade to send De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs in a multi-team trade that moves Chicago Bulls Zach LaVine to the Kings. Oh God. We have to see what else is in there. But
Does it matter?
let me compose myself. Jesus Christ. Oh God. Yeah. So I bitched about this earlier in the season because I can't even think right now, dude. It hurts. It fucking hurts. Earlier this season, the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell to the Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith. And I text you when that happened, and I'm like, how does the Lakers always get whatever they want for free?
Yeah.
Basically, because D'Angelo Russell's like a washed, nobody point guard. And Dorian Finney Smith, while he's not like incredible, is a really good 3-and-D wing who is worth way more than that. And so there's just this like LA discount, or like there's some weird thing from like other GMs loving the Lakers growing up where they're just like, we're going to just call them and say, hey, do you want Luka Doncic? Why can't anybody call the Kings and say, hey, do you want Luka Doncic? You know what calls the
Well,
Kings get? The Kings get, hey, trade away your best player and get Zach fucking LaVine back. And I'll say this, Zach LaVine's been a goddamn bucket this season, but
yeah.
holy hell, Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan backcourt. DeMar DeRozan can't get away from this fucking guy. But yeah. So just another like this takes me back to all of the Lakers fuckery that's happened where it's like Memphis trades Paul Gasol to the Lakers without notifying anybody else that Paul Gasol is available. Like Shaq is going to resign with the Magic, and all of a sudden, last minute is like, oh, you know what? I think I want to be a Laker. Like they get Kobe in a trade for basically nothing. This just always seems to happen with the Lakers. And, whenever Lakers fans are on Reddit or on Twitter or whatever, being like, hey, we're just going to get Giannis or we're going to get Jokic or we're going to get blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, stop being so annoying. That's never going to happen. This is why they talk like that, because this franchise does get your guy.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, last year, one day ago, if a Lakers fan was like, yeah, we're going to get Luka as our next guy, Dallas fans would have been like, shut the fuck up. No, you're not. He's a Dallas Maverick for life. Because this is not the type of guy you let go. And honestly, if the problem is that the owners of the Dallas Mavericks like don't want to pay Luka a supermax, why do you own a basketball team if this isn't the guy you're going to pay?
Yeah.
And I think that you mentioned like Nico Harrison's comments, the GM for the Dallas Mavericks, and it seems like every time he opens his mouth in the last 12 hours or 24 hours, however long it's been, that it just falls flat and doesn't make any sense. And I honestly think that's just because people know when they're being lied to. And there's nothing that he can say to justify this.
No.
What they've done, how they did it, the fact that they didn't shop it more, like
Hmm.
there's nothing that they can say. And honestly, reading the tea leaves, it seems to me what happened is that ownership basically told him, like, hey, we're not paying the second apron or the first apron for this team. So you got to make a decision. And whether they told him like you need to trade Luka or whether they told him like you need to either like you need to figure out how to get us under this number in the next couple of years, Luka Doncic is not where you save money.
No.
You gave Kyrie Irving a 3 year, $100 million deal.
Yep.
You gave Klay Thompson a 3 year, $50 million deal. You paid Gafford. You paid PJ Washington. You paid all of these guys who are not Luka Doncic, and now you are refusing to pay Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would have way more respect for them as a franchise if they just came out and said, like, hey, these are the reasons we didn't want to pay this guy. We traded him and like just kind of told us the truth about what was going on here instead of saying like we think defense wins championships. And so we prioritized getting Anthony Davis. I can't get over the fact that they decided to trade Luka Doncic. And when you're trading Luka, you can probably be like, we can have any player in the league that we want because we're going to give them Luka in return. I mean, like probably the two guys you're not trading for Luka are Jokic and Wemby,
Yeah. Maybe Giannis.
maybe Giannis, but that's more of like a fair swap, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, so if they were like, hey, I mentioned Shea earlier. If they were like, we're going to trade Luka and we really like Shea, I think if you call Oklahoma City and say we want to swap you Luka for Shea, that they're not hanging up the phone.
Yeah.
There's a conversation to be had there at least. But instead of doing that shit, you completely skip over like the top 7, 8, 9, 10 players in the league, wherever you put Davis. And you're like, who we want is 31-year-old Anthony Davis to pair with Kyrie Irving. That's going to win us a championship.
I mean, is he in your top 20 names on that list? Like,
If I'm trading Luka, no, but I did have
yeah.
Anthony Davis, I think, in my top 15 when we did
Yeah,
top
no,
50.
I'm not, yeah, and yeah, he was, I believe, in mine as well, but like as a trade asset, that is a radically different thing. I mean, even if, and I think you and I are both aligned in saying trading Luka Doncic is not a winning basketball move. Uh, but even if you are saying, yeah, like we are going to trade Luka Doncic, when you don't do it? Mid-season. You don't do that mid-season because Luka Doncic, and they know this full and well because they saw it. Luka Doncic, if you are in the playoffs, can carry you all the way to the finals and potentially win it for you.
Yeah.
You don't throw away an opportunity mid-season to potentially win a championship. Now, if you want to shuffle the cards in the offseason, I don't think that's the way that you want to shuffle them, but hey, like, I guess do you. But that is not the time to do that.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you, but the Mavericks haven't been amazing this season. They're 26 and well, I guess they were 26 and 23 before they got
Yeah.
obliterated by the Cavs today in their first game in the post Luka era.
Yeah.
Uh, but I the details of the Kings deal just popped up on my phone. It's so the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings get Zach LaVine, Sidney Cisco, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and the Bulls get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Herter, and their own 2025 pick back from the San Antonio Spurs. So, yeah, we got a top 14 2025 protected pick from Charlotte, a 2027 pick from the Spurs, who are going to have Fox and Wemby, and a 2031 pick from Minnesota. And Zach LaVine. Like I knew it was gonna be bad that we were trading Fox, but yeah, the Spurs just got De'Aaron Fox for basically nothing. Like they gave up literally nothing of significance. They kept Castle, they kept Sohan, they kept Keldon fucking Johnson. I
Yeah.
I'm officially on the emergency pod right now, starting the Fire Monty movement
Yeah.
in
No,
Sacramento.
that's
This is
fully
goddamn
valid.
fucking bullshit. Vivek needs to sell this team and Monty needs to go. The other thing I wanted to ask you though, so one of the big complaints about this Luka trade is that the Mavericks did not want to pay him the supermax that he's going to be due coming up. The supermax was something that was invented by the NBA to keep stars in the areas that they were drafted in.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's having the opposite effect right now because with this new CBA, teams apparently do not want to pay their stars the supermax and hit that first or second apron with all the tax implications and pick losses and all of that stuff. And it seems like we may be hurtling towards a point where teams trade away. They'd like rather trade away Luka and get Anthony Davis than pay him $60 million a season to stay in Dallas. And I'm almost wondering if the Supermax has now become a bad thing for teams where it's like, oh shit, if we keep this guy, we have to pay him how much? No, we need to get rid of him. And it seems like that was a portion of what happened here. Do you think the Supermax is still a good thing for the NBA? Or I guess, was it ever a good thing?
I think it entirely depends on the ownership of any given team. There is going to be ownership that is going to be against like venturing into that first apron 100% of the time. Uh like we because we can't conceptualize that much money, like we tend to just think that like the money of all ownership is generally the same, but it's not necessarily always true. And I mean, we see in the NFL all the time, they're cash rich organizations and they're cash poor organizations. And to me, if you went to the finals last year and you are already like thinking that you don't want to pay for a winning team, then I don't know that the Supermax is necessarily where that's coming from. Uh, I think I think it's just kind of a scapegoat.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going earlier too, and I was saying that it seems like a directive from ownership to Nico to be like, hey, I don't know necessarily that they told him you need to trade Luka. Maybe they did, but it seems like they're saying like, hey, we're gonna have to pay this guy a supermax soon, and we're not going over the first apron or whatever. We're not going to the separate second apron. So you need to make a decision on how you make a winning team around that. And
Yeah.
you have all these other constraints. Um, and so this is the route they took. Dude, I honestly can barely focus right now. I'm so fucking pissed I can't see straight. Trying hard to think about what to say about the Luka Doncic trade, and I am so fucking mad that we just traded De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs, and the Spurs didn't give up a single fucking thing.
Yeah.
This is oh god, this reminds me of when we like traded multiple first to the 76ers in a salary dump so that we could draft Rajon Rondo, or when we traded DeMarcus Cousins for Buddy Hield. Uh,
God.
or any of the other numerous horrific things that have happened to me in the last 25 years as a Kings fan. Put it on the list. Luka should be on the Kings. God damn it. I hate this franchise so
De'Aaron
fucking much.
Fox is higher on that list of assets than Anthony Davis.
Oh, I hate this franchise so much. There was a report saying earlier that like Castle was off limits from the Spurs, but they were willing to put together a substantive package. And I guess that was a fucking lie.
Well, that's a subjective phrase.
We're not the Lakers in this situation. We're the Mavs.
Yep.
We're the ones, you know, that Walter White line where it's like someone knocks on the door and there's danger and you think I'm the person opening the door, but I'm the one knocking. The Kings are the ones opening the door. We just opened the fucking door again. I hate this team so much. It's so like this is my sports penance for being a fan of Boston sports and winning so many championships with my other teams over the last 20 years, like the Patriots and the Red Sox, and watching the Bruins win one, is that I have to root for this mess. And people are like, Adam, you don't have to. It, I can't help it.
He does.
If I didn't have to, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't.
We pick our favorite teams when we're 8 years old, and then we spend the rest of our lives crying over that decision.
It really is. I really might cry tonight. It's horrible. I like if I could just choose to be a fan of a different team, I would probably just be like, I'm gonna be a Pistons fan
Yeah.
because I live in Detroit. Cade is awesome. You guys are gonna trade for CJ McCollum soon, which is like, you know, you're an ascending team that has hopes of making the playoffs. Why don't we trade for something we need? That's a novel fucking idea.
Now let's just trade away our best player for nothing.
Luka's a Laker and everything is worse now.
Yep.
I still don't believe it's real. I woke up 1 a.m. last night, looked at my phone, saw all this trade stuff. I was like, I'm going to wake up and it's going to be like a joke. Or it's going to be like one of Trump's executive orders that he like ordered the Mavericks to trade him to the Lakers. And there's going to be like a legal challenge and he's going to have to rescind it in like 2 days. And Luka will be back on the Mavs and everything will be okay.
God.
Not this. Did we miss anything on the trade? I'm sorry. I got so sidetracked that if you said
I
something I didn't respond to, then I missed it.
genuinely don't know because what the fuck are we living in?
There was some thought that LeBron to the Golden State Warriors had serious legs now that they had made the Anthony Davis trade. And I started putting together like fake trades for LeBron to go to the Warriors. And it was like Wiggins, Schroeder, Kuminga, and like one of their like $2 million salary guys, like one of the lower guys, something like that. But then LeBron came out and said that he wants to stay with the Lakers past the trade deadline. And it's like, yeah, you know what would make me want to stay with the Lakers?
Luka Doncic.
Luka fucking Doncic. LeBron is now the second best player on his own team. He has young Serbian LeBron. These two are going to play together this year, and it's going to be like, I mean, I know you hate LeBron. I'm not a huge LeBron fan, but I think it's going to be legitimately fun to watch these two play together. And the like passing of the torch from LeBron to Luka is the next face of the Lakers. But I was looking at this though because there was kind of a theory that, LeBron has a player option for next year, $52.6 million. And he might reject that and like want to go play for the Mavericks with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, which would be the irony of all ironies if Clutch set this up from the beginning and they're like, how do we get Kyrie with LeBron and Anthony Davis? Watch this. Um, but if Anthony Davis makes more money than Luka Doncic does next year, which is fucking hilarious. And when you think about the fact that they didn't want to pay Luka, um, so he makes about like it was like 6 to 8 million more than Luka. If LeBron opts out, the Lakers suddenly have like cap space against an increasing cap. The salary cap right now is like 140 million and a half, and it'll be a little bit higher next season. They can get down to like the 130s. And I just guarantee you that there's going to be a step two to
Hey, you
this.
know who, man, if he opts out, you know who they could afford? LeBron James.
Whoa. No, but there's going to be, whether it's like LeBron
Yeah.
opting out next season or whether it's like LeBron leaving after next season, there's a step two to this where the Lakers bring
Yeah.
in the second superstar to play with Luka, because that's the Lakers' MO. It's, you know, Kareem and Magic. It's Shaq and
Yeah.
Kobe. It's Kobe and Pau. It's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And now that you have Luka, there will be someone who wants to come here and someone that will force their way here
Yeah.
to play with him. And the Lakers will be like, for this season, I'll be really interested to see how it works out, because like the Lakers are actually like pretty good right now. They're 28-19. Um, which like obviously you don't push this trade out to the offseason if you're the Lakers. You're like, yeah,
No,
let's do it now
you,
and get it locked down.
yeah, if you're the Lakers and someone offers you Luka Doncic, you don't let them leave the room until it's done. Like,
Yeah, but it's like I don't think the Lakers are done yet, because now this is a really interesting team around Luka and LeBron, where they
mhm.
basically have no bigs. So they have like Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes. Like I could see them trying to bring in another big or two. Not
Then
that
they
it
get Maxi
necessarily,
Kleber.
yeah, but Maxi's like
Yeah.
I don't know, he's like a wing big. So
Yeah.
he's weird. But that's a good point. But I could see them bringing in like a more of like a traditional center type of guy.
Yeah.
Um, but also kind of like having Dorian Finney-Smith, Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, and some of these guys to kind of play off of LeBron James and Luka.
Mhm.
I think we could see some really good, really creative lineups by JJ Redick, especially if they can get like the rim running, rim protecting center, like the Daniel Gafford type of player that the Mavericks brought in for Luka last year.
Mhm.
And it'll
Yeah.
happen because they're the Lakers and someone will just give it to him for free. They'll be like, oh, I'm sorry,
Yep.
what do you need? Okay, here you go, sir.
Yeah.
Would you like a lightly used Demontis Sabonis? We'll we'll take fucking Shake Milton back. That'll be fantastic. Oh, who else's massive fucking contract can we take on from a team that doesn't want them? We'll take that too. Have all of our best players, every other team in the fucking NBA. Fuck you, Monty. Fuck you. God, so we'll see what the Lakers do. They're definitely a potential threat right now. Any team that has Luka Doncic is. The
Yep.
Mavericks, it seems like they got to kind of reconfigure and get their shit together. I could either see them like being a playoff team with Kyrie and Davis, or I can see this going completely the opposite direction and they're just like, what the fuck happened? And this team just completely falls through the floor. They got annihilated by the Cavs today. Nobody played, but they got waxed in a way that you don't get waxed very often. So,
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, like on a historical level.
yeah, it was 50-19 at the end of the first quarter. The defense wins championships, Dallas Mavericks. But any other final thoughts on the trade before we sign off, or you want to say anything to me
Other
to?
than it just being stupid.
It's generational stupidity. I think
Yeah.
is the two things that really sum up this trade to me are I still don't feel like it's real because it doesn't make any sense and it's just fucking stupid. And the Kings are probably going to get some cover for their stupid trade because of how stupid this is. And as mad as I am at Monty, at least I'm not a Mavericks fan. That's all I can say. Because
Yeah.
if you
No,
know
you
a
guys
Mavericks
already
fan,
gave away Luka once,
I
so
know this franchise. If you know a Mavericks fan, please reach out to them and give them a hug. Um, but that is it for us. As always, Fouled Out can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Pocket Cast, Overcast, anywhere you get your podcast. If you want to send your condolences to me for being a Kings fan, you can do that. FouledOutSports@gmail.com. Or the fact that my favorite player in the NBA is now on the Lakers. Just fucking reach out to me. I love Luka. I've always loved Luka, and now he's on the Lakers. Maybe I should be a Lakers fan.
no, that's
Yeah.
not allowed.
Yeah, because then I just get whatever I want. Luka Giannis 2026. Let's go Lakers. I know like other Kings fans would be like, you can't say that, but like I don't know, man. I don't really particularly hate the Lakers. I did when I was a kid, but like maybe it's because I live in Michigan. I don't really give a shit. Um,
I mean, living in the Detroit area, you're really not supposed to like the Lakers.
yeah, that's
So,
true. But my problem is the team I like the most is the Sacramento Kings, and also the team I hate the most because I'm a Kings fan is the
yeah.
Sacramento Kings. Fucking hate the Kings. I wish I knew how to quit you. You're my Atlanta Falcons of the NBA. And you can not really find our videos on TikTok. I think I can log in through my computer, so maybe there'll just be a video, like a 15-minute video or whatever the minute cap is of me crying between yelling "fuck you, Monty." Zach LaVine could have had him for free. For free.
Yep.
They couldn't give him away. All right, Matt and I'll be back on Friday. Probably. Why? Why do we do this? There's an Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl to talk about this week, and this just happened. Like the Luka thing and the De'Aaron Fox thing just happened. Like, well, we should change. You want to talk about video games this week? Movies?
Hell yeah.
Anything else besides this
Literally
bullshit?
anything but
But
this bullshit.
anything. We could politics.
That's
And
what the people want.
it's not about them, it's about me. And I don't want to talk about this shit anymore, Matt. Matt and I'll be back Friday with the Super Bowl preview breakdown. We're gonna both pick the Chiefs. So you have
Yep.
that to look forward to because they have Patrick Mahomes. So but yeah, we'll be back with prop bets and all of the fun stuff leading up to the Super Bowl on Sunday. But for now, my friend, I will see you soon. Thank you for jumping on with me on a Sunday night to listen to me bitch.
Of course.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye,
Bye,
Mom.
Robin.